At the end of yesterday's video, I talked about taking this deck in a more token-focused direction, the main inspiration for that being the Scarab Egg. It has good synergy with Savage Roar. It's particularly cool with Void Ripper, because you just go turn 2 Egg and then flip it with Void Ripper. We've added Power of the Wild for some more synergy. We've also got Direwolf Alpha, Fungal Mancer, Branching Paths. So lots of stuff to activate the egg and take advantage of the scarabs. On a similar note, I've also got one copy of Devilsaur Egg. I don't think the Devilsaur Egg is nearly as good as the Scarab Egg in this deck, but I thought I would give it a try. And one more thing I'm trying out is Mark of the Loa. I wanted a proactive 4-drop. It puts 2 bodies on the board, so it can help us with Savage Roar and stuff like that. And I think even just landing like +2/+4 on like a Serenite Taskmaster or something could be pretty powerful. So overall, the deck is still kind of looking to do the same thing. We want to curve out and kill people with Savage Roar around turn 5 or turn 6. But we did change around a handful of cards, so let's see if the deck plays any different today. Please don't have Defile in your deck. Even against slower Warlocks, like Bounce, Savage Striker kills a Vulgar Homunculus, could be decent. I could have just pounced here, but I'm not worried about this 2-1 going into my 1-3. It's definitely possible that just coining out the Void Ripper, or coining out the Crypt Lord rather, was the play there. Could follow it up with a Void Ripper maybe. But I liked this. Might want to coin out a Mark of the Loa next turn or something. Not entirely sure. Probably just play a Crypt Lord though. Well, that's a Void Ripper. Pushes quite a bit of damage as well, just getting rid of the Doomsayer. Unfortunately, I get defiled here. Without this Void Ripper pickup, I probably would have made 3/2s. But Void Ripper does so much damage with Crypt Lord. Probably Crypt Lord next turn and then Void Ripper on 6 for lethal, hopefully. It's pretty obnoxious. I could just go Void Ripper here, Hero Power into this, and push 6. No, I can just Void Ripper it next turn, right? Void Ripper Hero Power it to get through. Alright, that should just be lethal. Well, I wasn't anticipating these animations taking so long, but this is actually kind of an interesting combo, huh? The Void Ripper can flip the Crypt Lords and buff them a lot. Did I have this play available last turn? Just play Scarab Egg and Void Ripper? I think I did, but then I couldn't have hero powered into the Stonehill Defender, right? So yeah, waiting was definitely better.
The forest fights back.
I guess I'm gonna keep this as a 2-drop. Scarab Egg is good to play around Duskbreaker. Might prefer playing the 3/2 on turn 2 and play Scarab Egg on turn 3 though. Do I want to make a 3/2? This is a really good way to buff all these 1/1s that come out. I think my turn 3 is probably Devilsaur Egg. It's better against Duskbreaker. So I'm probably just going to make a 3/2 here, I think. He picked that card real quick. I don't necessarily have a read that he's a Duskbreaker deck at all, but this is still a good thing to get in play against Mass Hysteria, I guess. Turn or two off still, but it's still nice. I probably don't Void Rip this guy next turn, because then I have a 5/5 that's going to fuck up my board when he plays Mass Hysteria, which he can coin out, and which he probably would have searched for. I think I like double 2-drop over Crypt Lord here.
Unity, precision,
Zilliax. This could still be a Dragon Priest, or it could be a Cloning Gallery deck at this point. I think I'm just gonna Savage Roar here. If I pop this, it gets Spirit Lashed. This does seem like a Spirit Lash deck. But Spirit Lash is overall kind of weak against my board, even if he has the Foulness to go along with it. So I think this is fine. The 1/1s are kind of bad for him against Mass Hysteria as well. That was his coin last turn for the Zilliax as well, so it delays Psychic Scream, which is really good. Psychic Scream is nuts against my deck. Alright, 1/1s, eat some hits. That was actually the best Mass Hysteria possible, just for the record.
the scourge will devour all.
Need to get stats in play. Hopefully he can't deal with my 6/2. It shouldn't be that easy. I'm definitely looking for a Fungal Mancer here. That would be the best draw. Void Ripper is okay. It's a playable minion. We take those. Savage Striker would be a really good draw here. Fungal Mancer. Mark of the Low is actually pretty good. Lets me run over this Lich King, keep a guy around. Do I want to kill this 2/3? And how do I want to kill it? I could pop the egg here. At this point I'm getting screamed, if anything. Although he does still have 2 Mass Hysterias. I think I like having the egg in play. It's just so good against Mass Hysteria and Spirit Lash. And this still sets up lethal if all he can do is hero power. He should have no coins in his hand, so no Cloning Gallery this turn. 1 mana off of Velen Lash. Lich King is going to be a bitch, but I definitely have some pretty good draws here. Probably wouldn't put Scarab Egg on that list of good draws though. But I get to push a little bit. I still have a pretty decent board presence. This egg is also good against AoE. But unfortunately on 9, his deck has a hell of a lot more options than on 8. Cloning Gallery obviously being the big one. Psychic Scream is good as well. He's at 8, so Leroy's not lethal. I'm gonna go ahead and say that Pounce was not the draw. But with Pounce, Leroy is a lethal draw. Leroy.
This'll be good.
What good is holding Fungal Mancer? I can go Leroy Fungal Pounce for 10.
Let's see.
10 does not seem like a relevant breakpoint. Getting it in play doesn't do anything either, though.
Not all wonder are lost.
I guess 10 actually is a relevant breakpoint against Velen Heal. So I straight up lost that game to Mass Hysteria RNG.
Lunara versus Rexa. Let the hunt begin.
The forest fights back.
1-drop into 2-drop. Don't necessarily love the Dire Wolf on 2 with only one other thing in play. But hey, I picked up a Savage Striker. Haven't drawn the Mad Hatter yet. This might be an interesting game to see how it plays out. So I want to play the egg. I always feel like just playing something with stats is so much better than playing the egg. Especially against Hunter that doesn't have AoE. So am I attacking into that? I can go Scarab Egg and then attack into it. That way if it's explosive he gets punished. And if it's Wandering Monster, I can Claw. I'll probably play it safe and hit with the 2-3. Oh wow, it was actually explosive. Nice. That was a pretty bad place to play the explosive trap. But the fact that he played it there like that probably does indicate a spellstone in his hand. Alright, well if it's explosive number 2, I'm gonna get absolutely fucked. But let's go ahead and drop the Mad Hatter. Okay, this one is pretty good against Wandering Monster, pretty bad against Freezing. Let's go ahead and do this one against Wandering Monster and Freezing, since I have the Pounce to clean up. Nice. So the problem is, if he has a Spellstone here, which he can coin out, I might still just be in trouble. But I've got 10 in play. I can drop, what, 2, 4, 6, 7 next turn? So if he plays Spellstone here, I'd probably just hit him. I think I can set him to 3. He coined, so no Rexar. Instead of Direwolf, I can go Pounce, Claw, Savage Striker. Shoot one of these, maybe even attack into another one.
This'll be good.
I think I like this line. I do miss some damage, but like clean up 2 of his guys. How does he deal with this board? He coined, so no Rexar. He can have like another explosive trap, I guess.
I'll never tell. I'll never tell.
God, I hope that's not another fucking explosive trap. Doesn't look like it with those attacks. How much damage do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Can even Void Ripper. No, I have to give up my hero power to Void Ripper. So I get some extra stats out of the Direwolf doing this. And this guy doesn't die to explosive anymore.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
So he's showing 10, 12. I probably just set him to 1 here. It's pretty hard for him to prevent me from just killing him with my hero power, but I do lose to Rexar here.
Well fought. I concede.
He had double secret into coin Spellstone and I was still able to win that game. So I guess that's a good sign.
Lunara versus Nemzi.
Uh-oh. Defile.
Let's have some fun. The forest fights
Do I keep a
back.
turn 1 Acarus Veteran? I haven't seen Zoo this entire expansion, so I'm going to toss the Pounce. Cryptlord is really good against Defile, but it doesn't put on that much pressure against the Defile decks, so I'm not sure if I like it or not. I think I'm going to toss it. Maybe I just toss the Power of the Wild too. Like, my whole fucking deck costs less than 3 mana. So I don't need to keep a 3-drop if I'm not happy about it. I'm gonna keep this Acros Veteran though, because I want to hit him on turn 1. Alright, so turn 1 double Firefly, turn 2 double Acros Veteran, unless I need to play my Claw, which it looks like I might. Do I want to Claw this? I'd probably just let him kill my Firefly here. Basically, like, would I rather have a Claw or a 1-2 in my hand? I think Claw's better. Especially given that I play Savage Strikers. Alright, double Veteran here. My board does get cleared by Defile, but not much I can do about that. Applies quite a bit of pressure. If he tries to hold off on the Defile, he doesn't get too much more, given that I'm playing Crypt Lord next turn, most likely. Ooze. Okay. So, this Ooze does let him Hellfire or Defile my Crypt Lord. I am not the biggest fan of that. I mean, I can go like Crypt Lord and trade off my 3-2. I really hate to trade my shit off when I have Savage Roar in my hand. But it's just like so much better against his AoE, I think I have to do it. If this thing was a 1-7 and survived the Hellfire, I might have just risked the Defile. Okay, he river procced my Leroy, which is kind of annoying. Let's see, I have 5 in play. This is 4, so 9. Savage Roar does 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
What if...
Savage Roar is so fucking broken, what the hell? I killed this guy on turn 4. I mean, he did tap twice and play a Kobold Librarian, but fuck. At the beginning of today, I was getting absolutely spanked playing this deck. I started out 1-8, and I was like at my breaking point, and then I managed to get a turn 5 lethal against a control Warlock, void ripping a couple Crypt Lords. At that point, I was able to turn things around a bit, made a few changes to the deck, and ended up going 10-12 overall. Which is not a great record, but given the 1-8 start, I'll definitely take the 9-4 that followed it. So what changes did I make to the deck to start recovering my win rate? I guess I should pull up the list I was playing originally. I think the thing to mention is I felt like too often my Scarab Eggs weren't active, so I looked for cards that can buff the eggs or buff the Scarabs that come out of them. I ended up cutting Mark of the Loa, which admittedly is something that can buff my Scarab Eggs, but it also sucks ass. So I cut the Mark of the Loa for a couple copies of Mad Hatter. I feel like in any game that I have a chance of winning, I am super far ahead on board on turn 4. So Mad Hatter is usually going to be buffing my stuff. It's good to put a bunch of stats on the egg, or spread out the stats across the Scarabs. And I think it was a pretty good addition to the deck, because like I said, I tend to be ahead on board at this point in the game. The other change I made was cutting the branching paths, which I felt was a little bit too slow and clunky, and a copy of Serenite Taskmaster for 2 Acros Veteran. It's a cheap, easy way to activate the Scarab Egg, and it's just good to give +1 power to like a Dire Mole or a Firefly or whatever. And hell, you can play a 1-mana 2/1 on turn 1, I'm not that upset by that. So I think the big takeaway from these changes is that I wanted to make the deck even more aggressive. But even making the deck more aggressive, I was never really impressed with the Scarab Egg. I felt like too often, either I couldn't activate it, or I would rather just play a 2-3 than play a Scarab Egg to set up to activate it, because I'm trying to close out the games quick. If my opponent gets a lot of mana, they're going to kill my stuff, and I'm not going to be able to win. So the Scarab Egg I think is just too slow, and it's not even that good at playing against AoE. Like Defile, for example, Scarab Egg is like actively bad against Defile, which is one of the scariest AoEs for this deck. And like, yeah, it's pretty good against Hellfire or whatever, but then you just have 3 1/1s that on their own don't even really apply that much pressure. Like, the opponent's still happy that they played AoE. So really, I think the Scarab Egg just doesn't do enough for 2 mana, not a fan of it. And similarly, I think Devil's Egg is just too slow for this deck. Probably, like, even if you want to keep the Scarab Eggs in, I think Devil's Egg definitely has to go. Maybe just like a second copy of Direwolf Alpha or something. Or maybe we can get that War Druid Lodi back in the deck. Lodi's a pretty cool, pretty flexible card. So, like I said, not a big fan of the Scarab Eggs. I think I want to try taking the deck toward the direction that I was playing in yesterday's video. But even without the eggs, I think I do like the Acheris Veteran, the Mad Hatters, and the Power of the Wilds. So maybe comparing to the list from yesterday, what did I end up cutting? A couple Druid of the Swarm and a couple Swipe. So I think I might just cut the eggs, put in Druid of the Swarm, and call it a day. I think this is where I would put the list at right now. I do wonder if the Scarab Egg build is maybe better in Wild, where there's more support for it, notably Mark of the Lotus. I am somewhat interested in trying out the Scarab Egg build in Wild, but every time I play Wild, I'm reminded of why I hate the format. So, not sure if I'll actually give it a go, but I do think it's an interesting idea. And I'm sure that there's just as large a Druid void in Wild as there is in Standard.